Stop the track. Nerdtopia, yo, and we got a freaking podcast. Cruising in the speeder, bullseye, and flipping womp-rats. Comics, video games, movies, real-life superheroes is what you can expect if you're wired to be weirdo. So we welcome all the newbies and the groupies, flashing boobies in the movies without booties. In the show, it's got you drooling with its comedy, no fooling. Now presenting you your hosts is Steven and fucking Doolin. Word, NerdtopiaCast on blogspot.com, facebook.com/NerdtopiaCast, also YouTube and podcast 38 seconds.
Hey, what's up? Welcome to NerdtopiaCast. It is Monday, May 28th, Memorial Day.
Happy Memorial Day.
Indeed, happy Memorial Day. Let's get down to nerdy, shall we, Steve?
I think we shall, sir.
All right, man. Well, let's get rolling, shall we?
New theme music this week, brought to you by Logan Hilliard, man. We put up a request on the site for new theme music. I think we had gotten as far as the good folks at EMI Publishing were going to let us get with Europe's song, Graciously Borrowed. And so Logan stepped up, man, and cut a killer remix. And I told him we would plug the daylights out of him for it. Logan Hilliard, you can listen to more of his stuff. I went back and I listened. He's got a lot of really cool, like, nerdcore style rap. Website is www.wix.com/LMCDOT/com?ref=NF.
Holy
so,
fuck!
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I that's a lot of letters.
You know what? We'll post it on the website.
I was about to say that. We'll post it on the site. Go to in all honesty, I mean, he's really good at what he does, man. Listen to this. He's got this on there. He's got a couple other things on there, but just a super talented guy. Very cool of him to kind of lend out his talent to the show. So give him a shout out. Amazing stuff. We're really happy to get that. And man, he killed it. He
absolutely did.
Yeah,
he absolutely did,
yeah.
Man. Like, yeah, we requested it. He brought it. So Thank you so much, Logan. And if you have more nerd tunes you want us to plug on the show, just send them our way, man. We'll be happy to do it for you.
We will steal the daylights out of your music, man. We'll credit you, but we will steal the daylights out of your. We'll use it for everything, man. I'll blare it on my iPhone as I walk through the grocery store in which I work. And people are like, who is that? Actually, they won't. They'll be like, aren't you supposed to be working? But yeah, either way, man. I mean, we love it, and that's what we're all about: is sharing ideas and sharing our talents and
sharing nerd culture, which
is
what we love to do here, man.
Absolutely, and if you're gonna send something, know that's where the bar is, man. Logan set it pretty high, so you gotta be at least this tall to ride this ride, man. That's a tall order to fill. He killed it.
Absolutely. Well, man, we got a huge show this week, man. I'd have to say this is our biggest one yet.
Show's already done. We're done with the show. We just started recording.
Right. We've already recorded the show. This is just us kind of going back and giving the intro.
Yeah. So about a year ago, I guess. Was it about a year ago?
Yeah, well, maybe close to.
Yeah, close to about a year ago.
Sometime last summer.
We went out and you nabbed us a superhero.
Well, yeah, it was just kind of on a whim. I had been watching. I mean, we talk about Phoenix Jones here a lot on the show, and I had seen his stuff on the news for a long time. And he had a Facebook page, so I went over and I sent him a friend request on Facebook. And it seems like he adds a lot of his fans, and that's cool. And I just on a whim, I was like, well, he'll probably leave, but let me throw him into Nerdtopia. And he came in and he stuck around, man. He didn't post in there a lot, but he stuck around, and it was kind of cool. And we kind of had a street cred. We're like, yeah, we have a nerd-centric group on Facebook. Kind of have a superhero in there.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a big deal.
Yeah.
You don't have a superhero in your Facebook group, but we have one in ours. So suck it.
Yeah, exactly.
So, we reached out to him after the last episode because I think it was the second time we discussed Phoenix Jones on the show.
Mm-hmm.
And we said, just kind of throwing it out there, we said, hey, man, we could use some support with this whole Rex Velvet thing that's been going on right now.
Right.
And he listened to it, and he thought it was very funny. He and his wife both. Purple Rain, they gave us a bit of a shout out on their page. They said, hey, these guys are funny, and they posted it, and then they agreed to come on the show. So that's huge, man.
Oh,
We
yeah.
got Phoenix Jones on the show today.
Yes, we have we have kind of actually it turned out to be an extended interview with now this is why this stuff's important. You're sitting there, you're like, Phoenix Jones, yeah, you guys talk about him a little bit. I've heard of him, watched him on the news maybe a couple months ago or something. Here's this. I don't think you quite grasp what's going on. This is the closest living thing we have to Batman.
That's right.
Yes, and by the end of the interview, I promise you, it's like if you just have kind of heard him, you're on the fence. Listen to this guy talk. Number one, the things that I walked away with on this. Number one, we spent. I spent the entire day. If you go back and you look at some of the stuff on YouTube and the news reports and the thing outside the courthouse and on CNN or where all those other places.
He's very guarded in his interviews.
Very guarded.
It's the media.
Right, very guarded, very just kind of look like so we're thinking, all right, well, we got an interview with Phoenix Jones. We got to make this guy look, like he has somewhat of a personality. Very kind of straight, to the point, and we learned, I think. Within the first 5 seconds of being on camera with him, that wasn't going to be a problem anymore.
No, this guy has personality coming out of every orifice. Man.
Yes, and we saw
within the first 10 seconds of being on cam with him, like he made us laugh right away.
Yes. The other impression is definitely one of us. He's not just some big buff dude with a costume that knows how to fight. Definitely one of us. Serious nerd cred.
By all accounts, sir, he is the Dork Knight.
Yes, he is.
And I don't mean dork in a derogatory sense. That's our word. We use that.
Exactly. That's our word. So definitely carrying some nerd cred. And the interview kind of takes some twists and some turns, man. But I left it kind of feeling like I definitely have a better sense of what's kind of inside this dude, like what makes him up, what kind of comprises Phoenix Jones the person, and it wasn't at all what I expected, and I was very, very pleasantly surprised.
Absolutely,
yeah.
We had such a blast just kind of chatting with him and his wife the other night. We won't go on about it too much because you guys are going to hear it.
Yes.
But yeah, a lot of fun. I was kind of floating on air the next couple of days. Just, I tried not to be that guy at work, like just going around to everybody, like, who I talked to last night. I didn't do it. I didn't do it. I refused to be that guy.
Yeah.
But it was very hard not to be.
Yeah, no, I was the exact opposite, actually. I just, people walk up to me at work and be like, hey, man, can you help me? I'd be like, yeah, I could help you. Or my close personal friend, Phoenix Jones, could help you.
You work at the bank, so like, oh, by the way, while we're talking about your savings account, I talked to Phoenix Jones last night, motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly. But before we're not going right to the pot roast, man. We're gonna make you eat your potatoes and your carrots and your broccoli before we get there, man. We're gonna put you through a show before we get to the payoff of the PJ Purple Rain interview, and also
where everybody fast forward.
Yes, and I will say this too. As pleasant and as wonderful as having Phoenix on, his wife, who we didn't really know a whole lot about, because obviously we were prepping for Phoenix, going into the interview, equally as wonderful and vibrant and pleasant as he was, just having both of them on was a good time. So
absolutely.
Let's get into the meat of the show a little bit.
Okay, go ahead, man.
So now this all kind of happened in a week. One of the things that I posted the other night is, a week ago we were just a YouTube show.
Absolutely.
And now we're on iTunes, and we've got the site going, and we're kind of picking up steam a little bit. So all this happened in a matter of a week. Getting Phoenix booked, and getting him on, doing the interview. So it's been kind of a topsy turvy, kind of crazy week. Not anything we've really been used to, but I think sometimes when we do these things, and certainly going from 0 to 60 as fast as we did, you tend to get what a lot of people don't know about when they're, and we didn't really know until this week, is when you're interviewing celebrities or famous personages, famous for anything. I know Phoenix wouldn't consider himself a celebrity. It's a crime fight to us. He's a celebrity. When you interview people like that, and especially when they come off and you kind of feel like you've developed a friendship with them, sometimes, you can be a little protective of them and their cause and their identity, because you learn to communicate with these people, you get along with them, you talk to them off the air, and you become friends with them. So, this led into, of course, we've been talking the last couple of weeks about wedding videographer Rex Velvet. Yeah, and actually his name.
That guy.
Yeah,
I know. I can't say it enough.
Yeah,
man. Just fuck that guy.
Wedding videographer Ryan Rex Velvet Corey, also from Seattle.
First of all, he drives a '66 Volkswagen. You know what that says to me?
Yeah.
Hipster douche.
Yes, absolutely.
You're driving around a '66 Volkswagen. Unless you had the car when it originally came out, you don't need to be driving it.
No.
You're trying to make a statement. That statement is, I'm a douchebag.
Yeah, he's basically driving Herbie the Love Bug. So imagine, like, Rex Velvet, already has something in common with Lindsay Lohan. They've both been inside Herbie. Although Herbie's probably been inside Lindsay at that point. But and maybe Rex, I don't know.
Who hasn't been inside Lindsay?
Yeah, maybe Rex. So anyways, so he kind of got, our collective goat, if you will, because we're like,
what he did was, not only did he call out Rain City superheroes, not only did he call out Phoenix Jones, who is one of our own, but he's calling out nerds. He's calling nerds to the line here. And what he has not realized at this stage in the game is that the geeks have inherited the earth.
Right.
It's ours. And
right.
He would have us go back to being bullied and persecuted and wedgied. And we say no. No more of that. We'll have no more bullying. Well, this is our show now.
He, and I said this too, and it really resonates with me. He used the N word. And that's our word. Yeah.
That is.
You can't use nerd in a derogatory term anymore.
Geek, dork, those are ours now.
That's our term. We own that.
Unless you're one of us, you don't get to use those.
Right. And so, it bothered me. It did bother me. I'm not gonna lie. It bothered the hell out of you. I mean, this has really kind of got your goat.
Yeah. Well, dude. I mean, okay, we live in a time where people have strapped on the costumes and they've patrolled the streets. Like, that exists now, man. Yeah. And there are people that say that not everything in life has to be gray. I will go out there and put my life on the line and be a symbol. I'm not going to be gray. I'm going to be the white.
Right.
Out in this dark and dreary world. And then there's somebody, if he's got a problem with it and he wants to make a statement against it, like, that's fine. I got no problem with that. But my problem with it is the fact that his deal is just to become famous.
Yeah.
He's a coattail riding media whore.
Well, he is. And
I can't abide by that, man.
Well, I mean, to be completely honest, I mean, we're becoming media whores ourselves, but we do it in a cute way. We're charming about it,
if we're coattail riding, we're doing it with someone's endorsement.
Yes, exactly. Phoenix is like, please get on my coattails. You won't slow me down. Have you seen the size of me? I can carry you too. You throw me on your coattails, I'll sing praises to you. Sure, absolutely.
This guy's riding coattails and trying to drag him down.
Absolutely. So anyways, it rubbed us both the wrong way. Certainly, I mean, I don't, I'd not seen you get this passionate about something in a while, and I get bored.
I said Ang Lee's the Hulk if I've been.
I would. Yeah, it's definitely on that level. So I had to do a lot of tech work this last couple weeks, getting the thing up to iTunes, and I learned a little bit about computers and, you know, how they work, and the internet as a whole, and encoding and site design and all that other stuff. One of the other things I started kind of messing around with was getting onto a lot of the boards and learning how to get into other people's systems. That's hacking, basically.
Right. We also had Chris Hall is our oracle, if you will.
Yes.
And he's been kind of our man behind the scenes throughout, kind of from the beginning here. Not from the very beginning, but he came in shortly thereafter.
Right.
And so you know, he took to this very quickly. So he's been kind of our man behind the scenes.
Right.
And ultimately, you know, we were on it, but I think he was the one that eventually hacked into the supervillain mainframe.
Yeah, you know, I was sitting at work, and because I got a day job too, and I started, you know, my phone started exploding, went in the back, and he was like, you'll never believe what I got. And I said, well, what's that? He said, I broke into
well, yeah, that's not how Chris sounds though.
Oh yeah, I was hang on, I've got some water.
Okay, go ahead.
You'll never believe what I got. I got Skype recording, of wedding videographer Ryan quote Rex Velvet.
It's not Cockney.
Oh, well, that's all I know, man.
Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry, Chris. That's our American stereotypes, very limited.
I can do no hold on. I can do more English stereotypes.
All we know of British accents are bad American actors portraying British accents. So I apologize.
Did you ever see?
But I'm very sure you have your own preconceptions.
No. What was Keanu was in something, wasn't he? Wasn't like Sense&? Yeah.
Bram Stoker's Dracula.
No. Much Ado About Nothing. The wife watches all the frippery, Tim Walla Walla Bing Bang stuff. Yeah, Bill Shakespeare movie, and yeah, this is a Bill Shakespeare joint, and Keanu.
Bill Shakespeare joint. We should do that. I'm so ADHD today. Okay,
yeah,
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, Bill Shakespeare joint.
Keanu, Denzel, and Michael Keaton.
Yes, all three: Keanu, Denzel, and Michael Keaton in a Bill Shakespeare joint, Much Ado About Nothing, and then Keanu has the British accent. Is like, so I'm gonna do Keanu Reeves in a British accent,
okay,
with delivering the message I got from Chris Hall.
Then you at least have an excuse to have a bad English accent.
Fair enough. So this is the Keanu Reeves version of that.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I was on the internet, and I hacked into the mainframe of the supervillain mainframes. And I stole wedding videographer Ryan Rex Velvet Corey's Skype account, and I totally hacked it, bro. So that's,
you know what? As bad as that was, it was still better than Rex Velvet.
Yes.
British
accent,
yeah.
It was just terrible. So anyways, yeah, so Chris, made some clickities and whatnot, and busted into, the, I'm guessing I want to say super villain, society of evil villains, something along those lines.
Evil Dark Huber.
Yeah, which is apparently, the kind of the clearinghouse, for, supervillains. I guess that's where, that's where they get their email and set up their Facebook pages or whatever it is that they do on those sites, and had downloaded a message that was sent to wedding videographer Ryan Rex Velvet Corey's email address at some point last week. So it was cool with you.
Did we intercepted a transmission?
Yes.
To Ryan Rex Velvet Corey.
No. Hold on. It's wedding videographer Ryan Rex Velvet Corey.
I better write this down if we refer to him as that from here on in.
Yes.
Wedding videographer Ryan Rex Velvet Corey. That's a long. I'm gonna need to take a nap.
Yeah. Well, I mean, no one's gonna really remember him as Rex Velvet. He's obviously a much better wedding videographer. But Yeah. So Chris got in there, and we'll play a little something for you here, because I thought it was very telling about his relationship with I guess the legitimate supervillains out there, and I think everybody should kind of hear where that goes.
My. Rex Velvet, we are a busy beaver, aren't we? You certainly can monologue with the best of them. Yes, I imagine that when you're reading from a script, you're quite the accomplished thespian. You've a flair for the dramatic, Rex. I must say that we're quite impressed. With your creativity and knack for performance, you can do so many constructive and evil things with your time. For instance, you could be a star in a local community theater production of Little Orphan Annie, which would give you the spotlight that you've been so desperately craving. Really, Rex, you've got the supervillain community in a bit of a twist, you see. You've put us in an awkward position. While you are quite versed in the ways of the supervillain monologue, you've yet to do anything aside from slander, which is easily accomplished by third graders on the playground. And then, after openly challenging your arch nemesis, he answers the call, and you back down with your crack about body odor? Are you a child? And furthermore, you let your nemesis defeat you in front of an audience. Really, Rex, it seems as when your dramatic script is taken from you, you've no villainous statements to make. You say that you would be better off without Phoenix Jones, but without him, you've got no show. No villainous deeds for which to stand on your own. Simply put, you are a joke. You have shamed yourself in the supervillain community. You do not care whether or not the Rain City superheroes disband. You're merely prancing about like an attention-starved stepchild. Well, Rex, you've had your attention, and your 15 minutes are up. Your gimmick is getting boring. Your nemesis is bored with you, and your publicity stunt is paper thin. Your sense of irony is like that of a pretentious hipster douchebag, which is exactly what you are. We supervillains hereby expel you from the villain community. Please, leave your decoder ring with Sheila. You may keep the Deathstructo Ray. The one we gave you was actually a gag gift. Johnson in accounting thought it would be funny. Now cease this mockery. Please, don't come to the employee cookout, Rex. You'll only embarrass yourself. As you've said so many times before, playtime is over.
All right, so if I'm to understand this correctly, even the secret underground villain society has booted this motherfucker out.
It sounds like they yanked his card, man.
Yeah, well, they probably put him in there as like a trial membership and then realized that all he can do is make videos.
He's on villain timeout. You know,
there's no timeout, man. He's exiled.
Yeah.
They fired his ass, man.
How do you get fired from being bad?
You don't do anything.
Yeah, I guess so.
You call yourself a supervillain and you don't break the law. That's how you get fired from it.
One of the things that I heard on the interview that he did, because apparently, and I don't remember if we get into this in the interview, but you know, Phoenix called him in on a radio station, and he gets on, and you got to listen to the audio. Gets on with the radio station later on the phone, and Phoenix, I mean, just manhandles him. I mean, just grown man's him.
Verbally.
Oh my God,
this guy.
Yes, it was. I mean, it was embarrassing. And me being a little bit of a troll, you know, I at this point I'm like, you know, at least this guy is, you know, he's at least pushing buttons, right? You know, it's like, yeah, okay, I'll give him credit for pushing buttons. I can always appreciate a good button pusher. And yeah, man, it was bad. So Phoenix basically calls him out, and He's like, so basically, you're a complaint villain. You're a villain who just lodges complaints. That's all you do.
And he's like, yeah, your complaint is that you have a complaint?
Yeah, so he's basically like, you've got the Shocker, you've got, all the other villains, the Shocker, the Puncher, the Kicker, whatever, they're playing them out there. and you got the Whiner. So he would be the Whiner. Yeah.
That's what we should do. We should change his supervillain name to the Whiner.
I think his name's long enough, though. I'm already having trouble remembering it.
I don't know. What do we got? Wedding
videographer. Ryan, quote, Rex Velvet, quote,
AKA
Corey.
Yeah, Corey, a.k.a.
The Whiner. Yeah. Yeah, it's a long name.
Okay, fair enough, man. So, so having seen all this, man, and like after he gets verbally bitch slapped by Phoenix, he goes out and he makes another fucking video. Have you seen the one where he has captured the superhero?
No, there's another one. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I mean it's after that he gets bitch slapped by Phoenix, he makes a third video. Here's the thing, like at this point, like the first two I found entertaining.
Yeah.
And this one was, much of the same, but he has we're not going to play a clip from it because I'm not giving it more attention.
Yeah.
But he has a superhero kidnapped, and he's about to kill him, but he lets the superhero go to spread the word that the Rain City superhero movement is soon to be over. And it's just it's lost every time he puts out a new every time he puts out a new video, it's a little bit less interesting to me. Like the gimmick is wearing thinner and thinner and thinner, and it's boring. So until he fucking has a battle with Phoenix Jones atop the Space Needle in the middle of a lightning storm, like Dark Knight Returns or something,
that would be
I'm
bad.
just fucking bored with him, man.
Yeah.
And I'm sure everybody else is too.
Man, this is. It's been a long time since I've seen you affected, like, just annoyed to this degree. I mean, this is really...
He's fucking with my man Phoenix.
Yeah,
you know how I am, man. Somebody calls out one of my friends, I'm always the first one to stand there. And, while Phoenix and I may not be BFFs, I've only chatted with him one time, man. I really respect what he's doing, and it pisses me off to see this going down. And that people... there's not a whole lot of them. He has a very small following of stupid minions. But there's people that are... following him basically, and that's what worries me. Is eventually like there's going to be a crowd of douchebags that find Phoenix while he's patrolling the streets and start giving him a hard time.
Yeah.
But anyways, man, so I've seen all this go down, and you're right, I am really irritated. So we here at NerdtopiaCast have officially declared war on the internet troll, wedding videographer Ryan, Rex Velvet, Corey, a.k.a. the Whiner / media whore. Yeah, I got through it.
Yeah, you did. Beginning to end, not bad.
Beginning to end, yes, sir. So, so for all of our nerdy brethren and sisterin and cousin and entrin and uncle tin, all of you guys that are listening, we have prepared a statement. I am making the official declaration of war here tonight on NerdtopiaCast, and I'd like to give a speech, if I may, Steve.
Yeah, go ahead.
Good morning. By this time tomorrow, we will be joined by nerds and trolls alike from all over the interwebs. And you, my dear nerds, will be launching the largest counter-offensive troll strike in the history of nerddom. Nerddom. That word, well, it holds new meaning for all of us nowadays. You see, the geek have inherited the earth. Nerds like us have become real-life superheroes that patrol the streets. But this bully troll would have us return to the ways of old, where nerds were teased and persecuted for believing in heroes. Heroes like Phoenix Jones and the Rain City superheroes.
Perhaps it is fate that today is Memorial Day, and we once again will remember the fallen. Not only the soldiers, but the nerds that have come before us. The ones stuffed into lockers and wedgied, strung up the flagpole. No, we'll have no more. This is the day that we will stand together. And bullies like Rex Velvet will cower at the words nerd and superheroes. And should we win the day, we will all remember the day that all nerds stood as one and declared in one voice, we will not stand for our superheroes to be mocked, defaced. We're going to troll you back. We're going to post ponies. We're going to spam your inbox. Today, Rex Velvet, we declare war!
Thank you. God bless America.
Yeah, man, this whole thing's got you really worked up, huh?
A little bit, just a little bit, tiny, just tiny. I'm only a little passionate about it.
Yeah. No. That is our rallying cry, man. I'm all for it.
That is breaking news, man. We are calling all members of the Nerd Nation. Go troll the shit out of this fucker.
Yeah, listen, guys.
Also, and we might have his email address. And we might not, but we probably do. I'm just putting that out there. We did a little bit of research. We gathered some information on this guy.
But here's this is what the bottom line is he's trying to, number one, he's trying to capitalize off of a guy who really, honestly, and certainly after you hear the interview, man's just out there trying to do what's right. He's taking a stand.
Right.
And no, in this country, no one should be penalized for taking a stand against things that are wrong. So that's the first part. The second part is, he's doing it at the expense of people like you, people who listen to the show. So don't let him take that, man. I mean, none of you guys have to take it. Rise up. We own the internet. This is ours. Yeah. Don't let him come on here and try to pretend it's his, because it's not. Rise up, man. Especially all you 4chaners. Everybody on 4chan needs to... Oh, Reddit? Yeah, Redditors.
YouTube, Twitter.
Troll Facebook. Away, my friends.
Attack this fucker on all fronts.
Yeah, troll away.
And his stupid minions.
Yes, troll. Well, the minions, honestly, the minions are probably just people who, haven't done their research or, just are like me, they're just drawn to chaos.
Or if you have a valid complaint about Phoenix Jones, I understand. Not everybody agrees with what he does. I can respect that.
Right.
I can respect not agreeing with him or not understanding. That's fine.
Yeah.
But don't do what this guy's doing, man. He's trying to pull Phoenix down.
Yeah, and the other thing too is, and we got into a conversation about this earlier today. When you have somebody who craves attention and is certainly trying to pony on somebody to, pardon the pun, pony up on somebody to get that attention, the only way to take that person down is to give them that attention, but not the attention that they want. You got to beat them. You got to beat them down using the same fire that they use to build themselves up. So troll the living fuck out of this guy. Get creative. I know you guys are creative. Use your superior intellect and bring this dude down.
We have already begun phase 1 of the trolling, which will begin 30 minutes ago.
Yes.
So as of the time you guys listen to this, we will have already started the counter strike. Join in, man. Join us.
Yes. We are about to go 88 miles an hour and go back in time to 1955 when the trolling attack begins.
Right, exactly. We're gonna change history, dude.
Marty!
I just got back from the future. Nerds are cool.
It's unbelievable.
Wait a minute, Doc, are you serious?
And the internet full of boobs.
What's the internet, Doc?
There's porn everywhere, Marty. All right, so let's go ahead and put a little bow on the show here, because there is a couple of non Phoenix business I want to get to before we turn it over to the interview. And I actually did show prep today.
Oh, okay.
Wait, hold on.
This is going to be a long-ass show.
Yeah, I actually did a little show prep today. Now that's, if you guys go back and listen, I mean, clearly, Doolin is the one usually bringing up the idea, and I'm just sitting back trying to crack wise on what he says. I actually did work for this show.
Okay. Well, I mean, I didn't feel like we needed to bring a lot to the table this week. We had so much already. But if you have something you want to discuss, go right ahead.
Well, I think this is important to discuss because this may be what the next series of shows is about. And this is breaking news. This is an exclusive. You've heard it here first, unless you've been in front of the computer in the last 24 to 48 hours or watched the news. But other than that, you've heard it here first. This is the first time you're gonna hear the story. Back in our neck of the woods, man, South Florida. This is from HuffPost. This was
I read this. Okay,
yes.
go ahead.
Let me make sure I get the credit for the person who wrote this on here. This is Huffington Post, uncredited, man. There's no credit. That's cool. So
it's in Miami.
Out of Miami. One man is dead and another hospitalized after a bizarre assault off Miami's MacArthur Causeway reported to force a police officer to open fire. But wait, there's more. City of Miami police say the incident began Saturday afternoon about 2 p.m. when an officer responded to reports of two men fighting in the bike path of the Biscayne Boulevard exit ramp alongside the Miami Herald's parking garage. There, according to the Herald, the officer observed a naked man eating another man's face.
Well, it's been a good run, everybody. I'm going to be holed up here in the mountain.
Yeah,
with my
exactly.
Shotgun. You guys are welcome to come, but you better bring food.
The officer...
and if you have a bite mark, then fuck off. I'm going to shoot you on sight.
This is from the Herald. The officer approached and saw that the naked man was actually chewing the other man's head, according to witnesses. The officer... The officer ordered the naked man to back away, and when he continued the assault, the officer shot him. So, the officer has the gun pointed at him. Right. He's like, hey, quit eating that dude, right? Gun
pulled
on.
I'm sure it doesn't sound like that. Like, you're an officer on the scene, and you shout like, hey, don't do that.
Which I'd be the worst.
It's not cool. It's not cool to eat somebody's face.
Like, hey, knock it off. Hey.
Stop that.
Yeah.
Stop that.
The attacker continued to eat the man despite being shot, forcing the officer to continue firing.
Jesus!
Witnesses said they heard at least a half dozen shots.
Oh my God, he emptied an entire clip into that guy.
It does say here...
Because he didn't hit him in the head.
Yeah, it does say here that while Miami police remain tight-lipped about the incident, investigators are asking witnesses to contact authorities. The Herald reports detectives believe the victim may have been homeless and the naked man suffering from cocaine psychosis, which could have prompted him to remove his clothing. Okay, fair enough. Cocaine psychosis. We've all been a little tipsy at parties and clothing tends to come off.
I may have bitten someone in the face.
I was about to say, cocaine psychosis, I've not seen some 80s movie where a bunch of people are doing lines of blow and then biting the faces off other human beings. That's right. Today, that's patient zero right there. I'm telling you, that's what it is. Today is the day the zombies come.
I will worry about it if there's a second case of this that pops up.
Yeah.
Then I invite you and your family and all the Nerdtopians, and we will build our Nerdtopia here at the top of the Appalachian Mountains where I live.
Yeah.
Until that happens, I'm not going to be too concerned.
You know
about
what?
It.
Honestly, the only thing that I'm going to be fearing overnight is catching some serious illness tonight and having to be put in the hospital, because that's the worst.
Yeah, that's where you don't want to be. That's ground zero, man.
Yes, exactly, because then you wake up and no one's there and the lights are all flickering and whatnot, and then you look outside.
8 days later, or Walking Dead.
Yes, every zombie movie seems to begin like that. So, just a little advice, just a little pro tip from us here at NerdtopiaCast. Don't get sick. Go hit up the airborne now, because this is not the time you want to be showing up at a hospital when people are out there eating other people's faces off.
You know, you got to think what that officer was saying. He's probably like a rookie, like first year, like, you know, first week on the force or whatever. You know, maybe like a young guy, dude, like 21 years old, fresh out of the academy or whatever. He walks up on that. And that was probably the first thing on his mind was, holy shit, it's happening.
Yeah. You know, every single time I talk about a police officer in a story, I think of Carl Winslow from Family Matters. Like me,
middle-aged, heavy-set black dude.
Yeah.
You don't want to go home because Steve's going to be there.
Go home, Steve. You know, he's just standing there, and you know, Jaleel White comes up. Can I help, Carl? Go home, Steve.
Can you imagine if they had taken Family Matters and set it in the zombie apocalypse? What an episode that would have been, man.
Yeah, I think I just realized the project that I'm going to be working on next week.
Yeah.
Jaleel White. Yeah, I was about to say, he ain't doing anything. He got off Dancing with the Stars early.
He did Dancing with the Stars or something.
He'd probably do it, man.
Why do they still call that Dancing with the Stars? You got Jaleel White on there.
Dancing with... You know what? You and I could probably get on...
Dancing with some people.
Yeah.
That had a show 20
You and I
ago.
can probably get on Dancing with the Stars at this point.
Yeah, podcasters. Yeah.
They're like, holy shit.
They have 84. We have 84 likes on his Facebook page.
Yeah.
At that point, they dropped so far, they're like, yeah, okay.
I can't believe they got those guys. At least we're not another Kardashian, right?
Yeah, right. There's nothing worse than that.
I actually have one more story that I thought was kind of apropos because I had this was also from Huffington Post by a guy named Doug Esser. I'm gonna butcher the name. Yong Hyun Kim, accused of hitting noisy kid at a Seattle suburb movie theater. This is in Seattle.
Sorry, you want to run that name back to me again?
Yong Hyun Kim.
Do it again.
Yong Hyun Kim. Should I do it angry? No one listens to the show. No one listens to the show anyway.
No, I'm good now.
Okay.
All right, what? Go ahead.
All right. So, all right. A Washington State man, fed up with a group of noisy moviegoers behind him, stepped over the seat and punched a 10-year-old boy in the face.
Sure, it wasn't Rex Velvet.
It might have been.
I hope it was.
Yeah. The man who told police, this is the great thing. It's almost like, because I could almost imagine some fanboy flying off of the handle in like the middle of the Avengers. People, you know, he's behind him and he's like, oh, wait till you see the dude in the end. And then throws out the spoiler. I mean, I can imagine a dude like getting riled up about that. The man who told police he thought the person he hit was a grown man, which of course the guy's Asian, so.
That's about the size of a full-grown Asian man.
Yeah, it's not the tallest race. I'm not. I have many Asian friends, but it's not the tallest race. I'm short too. Okay. So he thought the person he hit was a grown man. Was watching. Here we go. Titanic in 3D with his girlfriend.
Don't spoil the fucking movie.
And had asked the people sitting behind him to quiet down and stop throwing popcorn, but they laughed.
Well, here's the thing, though, man. Like, first of all, like, let me go on record and say I don't condone punching kids. Punching kids is bad. Yeah. You don't do that. Yeah. You don't punch kids. No. However, I my line of work, I see a lot of kids every day, and there's a handful of kids that make my job worth doing what I do, right? Because it ain't for the pay. I'll tell you that much.
Right.
But. And then on the flip side of that, like, you meet some real unruly little shitheads, and I've met a bunch of them, man, where I've just wanted to reach out and, start punching the fuck out of them. Yeah. So, so I'm not condoning it, but I understand.
Yeah. This is the, it's a dude actually did some damage. This says here the 10-year-old lost a tooth.
And that's too much.
Yeah, and had a bloody nose in the confrontation. The thing that gets me about the story, it's like, first of all, it's Titanic 3D.
Yeah.
So what did the kid do? Say like the boat was gonna sink? Number one,
he probably got dragged there and didn't want to watch the damn.
Yeah, exactly. And it's second of all,
I don't condone. Once again, I don't condone punching kids, dude. Like, but yeah, the kid was probably bored.
Yeah. But, so what could make you, like, I guess he's probably already mad he's in there watching Titanic 3D.
Until he sees Kate Winslet's boobs in 3D. At that point, he was probably, like, riveted. It must have been before Kate Winslet showed her boobs.
Yeah, you know, I remember, like, back in the day, she got, like, some flack for, I guess she was, you know, some flack for being a little bit bigger than Hollywood, you know, was at that point, like a larger. She was
more curvy than.
She was hot in that movie, dude.
I think she's held up well. She's still pretty.
Yeah. So Asian man punches a 10-year-old boy. This is in Seattle too, by the way.
Yeah, not cool. It's Phoenix. Where were you, man?
I know. You know, I can't stop every crime, but yeah. So, you know, yet another crime in Seattle. It's probably perpetrated by, you know, all the Rex Velvet hate that's been, wedding videographer Ryan Rex Velvet Corey hate that's being spread around the city. So something.
Slash whiner.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, so you know, if you go watch Titanic 3D, beware of small angry Asians. That's all. Yeah, that was my show prep.
Small angry Asians every day.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good life rule. Just beware of small angry Asians.
Just stay out of the way of angry Asians.
Yes.
I mean, those guys on the beach didn't do it. Like, you know, I remember I saw a documentary once where these guys put a beer bottle on this little Asian's car, and he asked him very politely, like 3 times, to move the bottle. He said, "Please kindly remove bottle," and they didn't do it. And this little Asian dude just chopped the fucking thing in half.
Really?
Fuck with those guys. Yeah, it was a documentary.
Karate chopped it in half.
Yeah, it was a documentary called you know it's not important.
Yeah.
But
the name of the documentary is like, you know, it's not important.
Because it's in their DNA. They know karate. This is a proven fact.
Yeah. So it's science.
They karate kicked away out of the womb.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the name of the documentary is, you know, it's not important, by the way. So we want to make sure we credit that term. He gave up in the beginning. He's like, yeah, you know, I'm making a movie. What's it called? You know, it's not important.
He also caught flies with chopsticks in that documentary.
Sweet. Yeah. I think that's another innate, like, racial skill. Like, if they ever make a World of Warcraft for, like, but instead of, like, Tauren and stuff, they've got, like, you know, different races of human beings. Like, that's just something, like, when you make an Asian character, you're going to get the ability to do. I don't know what buff it gives you. But yeah, like, I think that's
you automatically know Reiki healing.
Yeah, exactly.
Character.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, man. Do you have anything else you wanna hit up before we give the people what they've tuned in for?
I think we've made everybody wait long enough.
Fair enough.
We go ahead and we'll go to the Phoenix Jones / Purple Rain interview.
All right. We're going to.
Hold on, wait a minute.
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead.
I'm gonna have to do a dedication here.
Go ahead.
Purple rain. Purple rain. Okay, sorry. She hates that. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, yeah. Let's not. Did you see?
I'm just doing it because I love her.
Did you see the size of her biceps?
Oh yeah, they won't see it because it's audio.
Yeah.
But there's one point on the interview where they throw their biceps up there. You do not want to fuck with her.
No. And she's very kind of like demure and cute and everything. Like you wouldn't like.
She's adorable.
Yeah, you wouldn't look at her and be like, this chick
man. She's cute.
Yeah, you wouldn't look at her and be like, this chick could waste you. You know, and oh man, that's not. Yeah. Don't you wouldn't like her when she's angry, man. Don't make her.
No, definitely not.
Yes, but without any further delay, we are going to cut to a little commercial, and then when we come back, the big interview, Phoenix Jones, Purple Rain, pre-recorded.
NerdtopiaCast.
Yeah, NerdtopiaCast, man. Subscribe. You know what? We're getting superheroes on the show. Subscribe. Listen to this wonderful podcast every week. All right, here we go. Here we go. Ready? And cut to commercial. Hey everyone, your friendly neighborhood Steve here to tell you to stop what you were doing and go get this book, man. Charles J. Bass Rap's An American at the Crossroads. He was kind enough to send me some copy to read, but it really was a bunch of words, like a lot. And since I don't really do scripts, I went out and found someone who has tons of work with teleprompters over his years in office and kind of an apropos person to go ahead and get this done. So I'm going to go make an Arnie Palmer and let my buddy kind of come on over. Yeah, kind of take over here. Thanks. So I just talk right into the mic. Okay. My fellow Americans, on September 11, 2001, the United States and the rest of the world watched in horror as Islamic terrorists struck the American heartland, killing thousands. In the immediate aftermath, politicians debated on how best to strike back, and America found itself struggling to handle the changing world around it. Let me just say this. I loved this book. It's smart, it's witty, and it breaks things down to the extent that any Bush could read it. You can find An American at the Crossroads on Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com, and find more information by liking An American at the Crossroads Facebook page. It is smart political analysis without all the political bias. Thank you, and God bless America. Was that good? Oh, or are you hungry? Hey, let me grab some chicken. Do you have any leftover chicken from last night? That's fine. You don't have to heat it up. That's okay.
All right, man, we are back, and on a momentous occasion as well, long promised and very much delivered on. Doolin, we've got a special guest with us here this week, episode 6 of NerdtopiaCast. Phoenix Jones.
That's right.
Hey guys, how you doing?
This is the real Phoenix Jones. First of all, I want to discuss the hammer pants, because I think, this is the one time I wish he wasn't a podcast.
If you don't own a pair of hammer pants, you're just foolish.
Yeah, for those of you who didn't see, when we first turned on the cam, we're on the cam right now with Phoenix, and he's wearing a pair of the Rex pants from Napoleon Dynamite, and it made my heart soar, I'm not going to lie. And he started jumping into the he's like, break the wrist, walk away. Break the wrist, walk away. It was beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
The only thing that I can really equivocate it to is the first time I saw a Mariah Carey video. I got that same kind of feeling in my heart. It was magical, and I think we're all better off for it. We would be remiss, first of all, Phoenix, if we didn't take this opportunity on behalf of everyone in Nerdtopia. Now, you've been in, I think, right about a year, if not over, to finally welcome you formally to the show, and to thank you for being here, man, and thank you for all the good works that you do. I think one of the things we started talking about in group really early on was that when the discussion of you came up and Doolin, of course, brought you up, a lot of us were just starting to follow your story and about how things kind of got started for you out in Seattle, and I was wondering if you could just kind of give a quick backstory, expound a little bit on what got you into fighting crime.
For sure, yeah. The first thing I want to say, though, real quick is Chuck. I can't remember his last name. It's a lot of letters. Starts with ST, right? You lose, because I'm the real Phoenix Jones, and you wrote me an email saying I wasn't, and now you lose. And not only do you just lose kind of, you lose on podcasts. And not only just a little bit of podcasts, you lose on podcasts that I'm going to Twitter. And I'm going to Facebook it, and I'm going to make a T-shirt, and then I will mail it to you with my face, with me and Doolin. We're hanging out, and you lose. Anyways, back to the question, I guess, right? The only thing that's left would be to rickroll him. I just can't. I wish I could send him an email, and he opens it and he gets rickrolled. That would just make it perfect.
Phoenix, we'll make that happen for you, man. We have a severe amount of influence with our dozens of listeners, so we'll make that happen for you.
Nice. But let's the beginning origin story. A lot of people know it, but now that I'm past the time of being legally persecuted for it, I can sort of go back and really explain the beginning. You know what I mean? And
yes, sir.
It started when this guy broke into my car, and my son got hurt in the process, and that story is really famous. But what isn't famous about that story is when I went home, my first response wasn't, let's dress up like a superhero, we'll go run around and stop random crime. It was, let's go get this guy. So the first 3 weeks of my superhero life was just me holding a ski mask, sitting in a car down at a water park, waiting for him to try to break into other cars, And eventually I caught the guy.
By no stretch of the imagination are you not, you are not a small man. Like, you're the last person on planet Earth I would want waiting in a water park with a ski mask for me.
It was definitely scarier for him when he saw me. He didn't like it. I came up out of the bushes. I had no shirt on, a ski mask, and some jeans and a fedora hat, and I'm just looking at him like, oh yeah, the whole thing. So he goes off running, dude. Yes, dude, just like the epic rap battles, it was just like that kind of look. So I run up on him. He goes taking off. We run into the bushes. I end up handcuffing him to a tree. I take his wallet, his ID, all of his money, like everything. And eventually, I donated his money to a homeless person. I mailed his ID to the police saying he was robbing people. And then I called 911 and told him his location. And that was sort of, going to be the end of it.
Right.
I thought, okay, well, exact vengeance. Then I'm at a nightclub.
You really had kind of like the Spider-Man, something happens to Uncle Ben, I'm going to go get this guy, that's going to be the end of it, but yet it wasn't like there's a continuation to it.
Right. It was like that was going to be the end. And at that time, between all my friends, I was pretty famous for this thing because it was the funniest joke between all my friends. Because when you do something great, it's one thing when it's, awesome for you. It's another when you shoot video. So I had tons of, photos and stuff of the event. So then it kind of passed around between my friends. And when I'm out in front of this nightclub and one of my friends gets hit in the face with a stick, and there's 70 people around him, he's bleeding from his face, and I run to my car to get my phone, because I used to be part of a breakdance crew, so I didn't have my phone in my pocket.
Yes.
I run to my car, and I open up the glove box. Yeah, I really was. I have some photos. I was also a double dutch champion. I'll have to send you some double dutch tweets. Oh yeah, and the national bowling champion.
Where can
you can Google that though. I'm in the bowling museum. If you go to Double Dutch Empire on YouTube, you'll see the guy with the big flat top with the muscles. That's me. And then if you go to the nationalbowlingmuseum.com, I'm in hometown heroics for the most 300 games before you turn 16.
Wow, dude, that's awesome.
But you do realize that the energy that it takes to become international bowling champion, break dancer, and a double dutch champion. You're probably this close away from solving cancer and the world's energy crisis. Have a Red Bull, Phoenix, and give it back a little bit. Why don't you? All this energy built up, man. That's amazing. You've done all these things, and what are you? You're still young like compared to us. 24 years old, man, setting the world on fire, man. That's amazing.
It was definitely sort of something I loved into. I mean, I never really looked at it and thought, I'm going to become a bowling champion. But what I did realize is I'm losing, and I don't like that, so I'm going to practice, And then before you know it, you're bowling in England, But anyways, all that aside, so this guy gets hit in the stick outside the club. So I run to my car and I open the glove box to get my phone, and I have one of these amazing moments because I drove a convertible at the time, and there's only, there's no dome light. The only light is inside the glove box. So when I open it, the mask falls out. This light lights up the mask. The fedora's in the back seat, and I'm like, I'm coming back. So I ditch the hat, ditch the shirt, throw the mask on, drop the hat on, and go after this guy. I chased him 2 blocks and tackle him. And the guy turned around to kind of square up and fight with me. And he must have forgot that, I'm sure you guys know, it's pretty documented that I'm, tons of amateur fighting belts and a very decorated professional fighter.
Sure. Yeah.
So he turns around, a couple punches, the dude's down.
Yeah. So I was going to kind of ask you, at what point was it that, the light came on and you were like, you kind of answered me just now, but you were like, I'm going to do this. This is something I'm going to do. But as you explained it to me, the nerd in me, I went into my head and I saw, the mask fall out of the car and then the light come on it, and I saw it in my head panel by panel in a comic book, dude. It was pretty awesome.
That's exactly what it was like to me. When some people look at something, like a scientist looks at a map of all these weird numbers and he's like, oh, that's the quantum theory. Well, to us, because we're nerds, we looked and we said, God is telling you to become a superhero.
Yeah.
That's the only logical choice. We were like, who's that guy from Aliens, Giorgio Texaca Lucas or whatever, who looks at all the pyramids and he's like, there's only one option. It's aliens. Well, that's kind of what we just did.
I'm the exact same way with Jenga, so I understand what you mean.
I start chasing this guy, right? And after I tackle him, we're 2 blocks away from the club, and the police come in, and they come in hard, 4 cop cars deep, guns drawn, and I'm like, well, this is where I get arrested. This was fun. And the cop walks over, puts us both up, My friend comes running down, bleeding from his face. He says, that's the guy who did it. So they handcuff the guy. And my friend knows who I am because, we all had this joke going from the weeks before. And the cop goes, take off your mask. And I remembered, I was like, you never have to take off your mask because they you don't have to, as long as you're willing to identify yourself with ID, you don't have to take your mask off.
Right.
And I know this because a couple of my friends are Muslim in the city. So I was like, no. I'm like, here's my identification. I'm not taking my mask off. And they're like, okay, that's your legal right. They're like, well, we need a witness for this crime, and since you were here. And I'm like, well, I don't want to be a witness. And at that time, there was a huge crowd of people who saw it. And they were all like, we'll be witnesses, we'll be witnesses. And the cop goes, we have to reference something down. We can't say a masked black guy tackled him. And I was like, yeah, say Phoenix Jones. So they wrote it down, the news leaked, and the next day in the newspaper it's masked man attacks crime. And you can see the photo, me and the cop have our arms folded, and I've got my little fedora on, and
I've seen that.
It's super funny. My mom brought it to me. She knew right away.
Yeah.
So your name, obviously, your name is out there, your real name is out there, but how did you come up with the name Phoenix Jones?
Right.
Like, where did that just like pop into your head?
No, man. First off, when you have weeks sitting in a car waiting for a guy who breaks into cars randomly, you got a lot of time to think. So between the random Bon Jovi and the Wanted Dead or Alive tracks, I had time to think.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, that's what you're doing when you're in the car. You're like, living on a prayer.
Yeah, you got it. Dude, I was rocking Jovi before you guys came on.
Yeah, I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it. So I'm sitting there, and I knew I wanted to do Jones. Jones is the most common last name in America. And after I got done with the whole, because originally it was just Phoenix. And Phoenix is because it has a very big relevance to my son who was hurt. Plus, I have a Phoenix tattoo on my leg. So then after I did it, though, and realized that I was going to be doing this for everybody, not just to get my own personal vengeance out, I wanted to pick a last name that was a common last name. So I picked the most common last name in America. So it started with my son, but it ends with it for the common people. And that's how Phoenix Jones came up. I didn't want to be a superhero because I thought that was kind of, no one would buy that. So I went for the Guardian of Seattle because I love the Guardian Angels. But when the news got a hold of it and saw my suit, they were like, yeah, you're a superhero. And I was kind of in trouble at that point.
Would you say that you went with the last name Jones because it was like you're kind of more or less, I mean, you wear the costume and that's a symbol for, something that can be good in this world, but then you also take the most common last name, Jones, just to kind of say that, look, I'm the average man, I'm the everyman, and I'm a symbol of what somebody else can do when they decide that they're not going to just sit around anymore and get up and do something about what's wrong with the world.
Totally agree with that. I couldn't agree more. That's exactly what it was. It was all of those sitting down, and you think about it, and you go, the last thing I want people to do here is to think that I have superpowers or that I'm delusional. I want them to think I'm a guy who just said enough is enough, and that criminals aren't invincible.
Absolutely.
That was one of the things that I found really interesting about the entire story is that, especially, so I guess he and I started discussing you about a year and a half ago, and so we were looking at the stories and everything that you saw, even the stuff that was coming out locally was so negative, and, what is this guy doing out there, taking all this stuff into his own hands, and, and doing some show prep for the last couple of days, man, I mean, looking through the local papers and looking through the internet and looking at everything that I could find about Phoenix Jones, it's like it's almost like you and the city have come completely 180 and come full circle. I mean, it was really difficult to find anything other than just praise for you. And tell me a little bit about how difficult it might have been in the beginning and how kind of that's worked out to where it seems like the city has embraced you at this point as like its favored son.
That was. It's funny you say that because it's not so much that they didn't like me that hurt my feelings. It was that. I remember talking to my wife a lot. I would come home and I would just be like, I don't know why no one gets it. This doesn't have to do with a superhero. This isn't a superhero story. This is an empowerment story. This is a story about a guy. This is like a guy who decided he wanted to fly. It's like the Wright brothers. They were crazy until the plane flew. Well, I don't get what they like. But the thing is that I was always successful. I mean, I've always stopped crime from the beginning. So it was like if the Wright brothers flew on their first flight. So I was lost because I was like, I don't think anyone's ever going to get it. Because I'm actually doing what I'm saying, and they still don't get it. My wife was the first one to really explain it to me in a way that I understood when she was like, I know you're great because we hang out together and I love you. But no one else knows you're cool because all you do is talk in a Batman voice and run away when the camera shows up. She's like, maybe you should try being yourself instead of acting like Batman. It was really bad. My first couple TV interviews, I don't know if you've heard them, but once we saw them at home, I realized I'm making a huge mistake.
You were on with Red Dragon and Buster Doe.
Yes, terrible.
And well, it wasn't terrible. I mean, you were a lot more articulate than than your fellow crime fighters were. But I could tell then I was watching, and I was like, I was saying the same thing. I'm like, nobody gets it. And it was very much a water cooler conversation. I brought it to my friends around the water cooler at work. I was like, have you seen this guy? And they're like, yeah, I don't get it. And I'm like, what is not to get? The dude's, he's rocking a suit. They're like, yeah, why does he wear a suit? I'm like, because it's a symbol. Why don't you guys understand that? Yeah, but nobody else really...
See, but that was already later in the game.
What's that?
See, that was already later in the game, though. Because before that, it was way worse, because I just had the blue spandex on. And I was saying crazy stuff. Like not crazy, but I'd be like, if you're a criminal in Seattle, I'm coming. Phoenix out. And then the news would just stare at you like, what are you talking about? You're handing out a sandwich. You know? You can't be mad all the time.
Just one favor. Can you give me a Where is Rachel, please? Just that would make my life. Give me a Where is Rachel,
dude. Do you know what my favorite scene from that movie is? Instead of the Where is Rachel, I would give you that. Yeah. But I think I have my other one. You ready?
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Where's Maroney? Listen to me. If you don't tell me where he is, you won't like what I do. I'm gonna drop off the building. You know, that's my favorite scene.
You know, I just watched.
And have you guys seen my video of the crack pipe?
I have.
On YouTube? Okay, you need to search up the video. It's called Phoenix Jones and the Crack Pipe. There's this guy, and he smokes tons of crack in the city during the day, in the middle of the streets. He's a major drug dealer, and I had just enough of him. So I decided I was going to just embarrass him, because busting him and sitting in jail wasn't working, so maybe just embarrassing him would work. Right. So every time I see him, whenever he's selling drugs or doing drugs, I walk up on him, and when I get really close to him, I go, "What are you doing? Stop selling drugs in my city!" And I make him put the crack pipe down, and I smash it in front of all of his crack friends, and then I run away making Batman noises. And it's been more effective than arresting him, because no one wants to be near the guy who gets caught by the dude who runs away going, Batman! Running around, and it's hilarious. You have to see it. It's the best thing ever.
I have tears in my eyes right now. That's hilarious.
It's a great video.
Okay, I'm okay. Gonna write that down. And let me
Phoenix Jones and the Crack Pipe.
Phoenix Jones and the Crack Pipe. All right. Let me ask you this, man.
And when your superhero career is over, then you've got a really great name for like a 5-piece band. Phoenix Jones and the Crack Pipe.
That'd be awesome. I get lead vocalist, but I'm making Pitch Black play the drums.
Yeah, fair enough, man.
Let me. I want to ask you a little bit more about like whole Rain City superhero movement a little bit later. But like when you, so we kind of explained a little bit like how you came to be like that when that light came on. You said you were going to do it. When you were creating the Phoenix Jones persona, like obviously you grew up reading comic books. You had to have. So what superheroes did you draw from the most? Like when little Ben was reading comic books as a kid, like what really lit him up?
Well, here's the thing about the little guy, little me. Little me didn't read a lot of comic books, man. And not only did he not read them, the ones he got weren't relatable. I got Batman because I don't know if you guys know this, but I grew up in an orphanage in Texas. So by the time I got to like read the comic books, it was like Batman. He was rich. He was running around fighting crime, and I was like, this is stupid. Because I don't know if you've been to the hood recently, but I'm broke. And I live in a room with 12 other kids, and I'm 44 pounds. I was a real small guy. So I was like, I don't like this. It wasn't until one of my friends came to me, probably when I was like maybe 10 or so, and he goes, hey, did you hear that Robin quit because Batman's a jerk? And I was like, yeah, I know Batman's a jerk. And he's like, no, you can't believe it, Robin quit. And it was Nightwing. And remember the first couple episodes, he throws away all of Batman's money, just goes around handing it to homeless people, and then he goes into his own, rents his apartment, gets a job as a cop, and starts going out there making money. And I looked at it and I said, I could do that. And I actually have every single Nightwing comic except for the New 52 reboot because it sucks. But everything before that...
We're not even going to go there, man. That's a sore subject for me.
You know what's really funny? I've had a bunch of like death threats and threats against me that people are going to hurt me. And the only one I've ever taken seriously, like really seriously, where I thought they might like vandalize my car or something, came a few months ago. And the first thing I did is went to my car and I grabbed all my comic books out of the trunk. And I brought them inside, and my wife looks at me and she goes, what's wrong? And I said, I'm just worried someone might vandalize my car. And that's the only time she's ever been nervous, because she knew how serious I took it because I moved my comic books. Mm-hmm. So that lets you know how serious I am about that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, right? Who's all quiet over there? My wife's listening to the thing, but she's all quiet.
That's okay.
I'm just trying to listen in.
We're happy just to have her here, man. All right, we'll talk about. Dahlia, let's talk about your wife for a minute. So, they say that behind every great man stands a greater woman. So obviously that's you, Purple. What's it been like for you, kind of behind the scenes and supporting him, and how has that changed over the years?
I'll tell you guys how we met. This is a really funny story. We casually met like when he was out on patrol one night, and I really supported him. I loved what he did because I was a survivor of domestic violence, so I like really, really admired him for going out and speaking up for victims of crime. And we became friends on Facebook. This was when you first started a Facebook account, and I was going to be auctioned off as a date for a charity benefit. Like I was just starting to get back into the dating scene, and he found out about it and decided to come out of the costume to this charity benefit. And he started bidding on me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like who's that big buff like black guy with the flat top that's bidding on me? Like, so then there was all these other creepy guys there. I'm like, okay, I'm really rooting for the guy with the flat top. I'm like, please. So he ended up, gosh, what was the bid? Like,
it was like $360 or something?
Yeah, it ended up being the highest bid of the night.
Yeah, she attracts creepers. If it wasn't, these other two guys were really creepy. They had like date rape face and they were super creepy looking.
Napkins smell like chloroform?
So a couple of days later, he called me to like arrange the date and ended up telling me who he was because he had gotten stabbed the night before, and he super glued the wound shut, and he like glued himself to his suit, so he couldn't take his suit off. So I was like, I have to come to the date in my suit.
Is this your first date and you're rocking the suit?
Yes.
Right. We had planned to go out on a date before this, and then the night before that I get stabbed by some homeless dude. So I'm like, darn, what am I going to do? But I don't want to cancel because this girl's super hot. So I'm just going to glue myself shut. So I didn't have a lot of time to sleep, so I glued it shut and fell asleep in the suit. Woke up and the suit was glued to my stomach. So I just threw a hoodie on for work. But when I went on this date, I'm like, I can't go to a date in a restaurant in a hoodie. Like, what am I going to do? So I was like, I'll just throw the mask on and Jones up. And if she's not cool with this now, our relationship's not going to work anyway.
But he's like, if it makes you feel more comfortable, you can wear a mask too. And I didn't have the superhero persona at that point. I was like, oh, no, I'm okay. I'll just go as myself.
Just a pro tip here. Never tell a girl to wear a mask on the first date, man. That's in the book somewhere.
I think a better pro tip is don't laugh so hard at your date that you start bleeding through your superhero suit and onto the tablecloth and ask to leave the restaurant.
Yeah, halfway through, I'm like, what's wrong? Like, I thought it was just like water or something, and we look over and he's totally bleeding, like, through the suit.
And very obviously, and you all lived happily ever after from that point.
Yes.
Well, we had this really funny moment where we went to the alleyway and we went to take off my super suit, and she's in the alleyway like gluing my cut shut, and I'm like, this is a keeper. I'm like, we're not going to quit the date here.
Yeah, no. I'm taking you home. You're gluing my wound shut. I think you get married for things like that in Hungary or something like that.
So that was your first date, and then obviously, it wasn't a total wash because you guys ended up married. So you knew right off the bat, who he was, what he did, and then how did it grow from there?
Well, I helped him from behind the scenes, and I started doing a lot of research on the crime trends around the city because he would go out for hours and he'd be gone all night long, and maybe come home and have him stop one crime. I'm like, there's got to be a better way to do this. So I started researching where all the crimes were happening and telling him where he needed to be, and he started going out and stopping more and more crimes. But then the team members never really had his back. And I've trained in martial arts my whole life. I'm in better shape than everybody on the team. So I'm like, that's it. I'm suiting up and I'm going out. Someone needs to have your back. And that's how Purple Rangers was born.
She's missing the funny parts because she was the one who talked me into what is reality and what's a comic book. So, when we first dated, I had, this long stun baton and, a grappling hook, and I would literally, climb buildings, stand up there like Batman down, and wait for crime. Then when I would see it, I'd have to climb down the building as fast as I could or run down the fire escape. Then half the time I'd miss the crime, but when I did miss the crime, I would then break the law of stopping the crime, which was so stupid that I couldn't call the police afterwards. And she was like, listen, she's like, babe, you're going to get arrested, and it's incredibly dumb to stand on a building, and grappling hooks don't work. She's like, I don't know.
Neither do net guns.
The net gun works. I just didn't work that one time. I netted myself one time. I was chasing a criminal. I popped the net gun. I was running so fast, I netted myself. And the police took photos of it. So now she's like, the net gun doesn't work. It does work. I just run too
You
fast.
just need a net gun that works faster than you do.
Yes.
I think they did like a Batman-centric episode of Mythbusters. If you would have seen that, you probably would have saved yourself a lot of time.
I'm going to go find it right now on YouTube. I'm totally going to find that.
It was pretty brilliant. Yeah, they tried like 1,002 ways to make the grappling hook work, and it didn't. But
yeah, the grappling hook is great fiction.
Yes.
I actually, one of the things that I do on the show, one of the things I don't do on the show is show prep. If you've heard the show, the last couple ones, preparing for things doesn't really go well for me. But he said, well, this is really important, so I want you to do some show prep. So I took the liberty of writing down a few questions that I thought maybe you could answer.
Oh boy.
It's the best I had. Don't give me a break. Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
So okay. Question 1. Okay, so Batman has, and you've already kind of answered this. Batman has batarangs and Nightwing has wingdings. Do you have a signature gadget? And if not, would you be open to some suggestions?
Well, I think the world would tell you my signature weapon is pepper spray. I would like to say it was better than that. I used to use glow-in-the-dark hockey pucks when people would run away, but I used to throw them at people from a distance.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was
pretty awesome. Did you use a stick or did you like disc them out?
Well, the cool thing is you can buy these dispensers, like for hockey coaches, that just sit on your hip and you can just dispense hockey pucks. So I used to have a ton of glow-in-the-dark hockey pucks. I just talk them to people who were running from me. And if you get them, it's pretty solid.
Yeah, I said Phoenix particle beams. I don't know how scientifically relevant that would be. I don't know if you could do that. Or photons, because it's got to have, I'm thinking in alliteration here. So you've got to, they both have to have the F sound. And then also a pike. You'd have the Phoenix pike, but that may be a little cumbersome, and I don't know how that would work. It's like you're fighting crime, and then both hands are taken. It's like dual wielding, so it might be hard to...
Well, I'm about to get a laser, so maybe I'll call it the phaser.
The Phoenix phaser.
I just nerdgasmed.
Phoenix photon. The Phoenix photon.
If you guys look up wickedlasers.com, they're going to give me their best lasers. My wife hates this idea. And they literally pop stuff. They pop tires. They burn through stuff. It's going to be great. I'm adding it to my new suit. And I'm literally like, if a car tries to run away, I'm just going to pop its tires with my lasers. I'm so excited.
That's awesome.
She thinks it's dumb, but I'm
no, it's not dumb. That's amazing.
What you're telling me right here on NerdtopiaCast number 6, nerdtopiacast.blogspot.com, also found on iTunes, is that this is kind of the inception of the Phoenix photon.
Oh yeah, definitely. I had the idea, but I didn't have the name. So the name is now on it. But you know what's funny? After we get off the air, I will send you guys some links. You can't share them, but you can personally look at them. My new suit is literally going to be like the Iron Man suit. You've never seen anything like this. It's incredible. And I even got a hold of the guy who makes the bear suits, and we're using that kind of bulletproof armor. It's going to be amazing.
Just you can think of me. When you see this, you can think Morgan Freeman. I can be your Morgan Freeman, and then you can trust me not to get all the blueprints out because I work in R&D.
Was my friend.
Yes.
He crawled through a
yeah.
the River Phoenix.
Okay. Well, I have another question.
Yes.
What are you in the Rain City superhero movement doing to address the Lindsay Lohan crime issues? And what a lot of people don't know is Lindsay Lohan crime, for a while there, was the fastest growing crime in the United States, because there were so many within a 24-hour period. I think at one time it had charted. So are you guys doing anything to stop Lindsay Lohan, or is that pretty much, or did you already do it, and that's why all the Lohan crime has dropped?
You know, I didn't hear your question, but the answer is aliens.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm just kidding. No, I'm totally kidding. Here's the thing about Lindsay Lohan, and I mean this in the nicest way. She is very elusive to catch because you never know what cheap $85 hotel she's in. So if you check all the cheap $85 hotels, eventually you'll win. But I have my own task force. Every time that they see someone who either A, does cocaine, or B, has a very odd way of walking and or driving their vehicle, we immediately eliminate the authorities. We immediately call the authorities. I'm going to tell you though right now, I've personally never had a Lohan sighting myself. I have seen Bigfoot though.
Yes. Okay, so let's say I'm going to give you a scenario. Okay, so I don't know how.
Dating her.
We're gonna get into that. We'll step in.
They're both media.
We'll pull open the velvet curtain here in a moment. Right. We'll pull open the velvet curtain here in a moment. We'll go beyond the velvet rope here in just a moment. Okay. But first, okay, so, and I'm new with the interviewing thing, so I'm trying to get good follow-up. So, you said you've seen Bigfoot, and then also, you commented on the elusiveness of Lindsay Lohan. So let's say you're in the middle of a perimeter. You do perimeters on patrol and stuff. And, let's say, like at the north end, you have Lindsay Lohan, and then in the southeast end, you have, Bigfoot, and then in the southwest end, you have Waldo. Okay, and you're in the middle of Seattle. Who's going to be the hardest to find? What's your plan of attack? Go.
The answer is going to shock you. Here's why. Okay, if we're in Seattle, Bigfoot's the easiest to find because he's a huge hairy monster in the middle of the city. Easy to find. Probably not thinking that one through. Lindsay Lohan is inside a building, preferably a building with low light, and probably one Amy Winehouse used to frequent. The only person that's going to be hard will be Waldo because he's dressed like a hipster in a city full of other hipsters. So I have no idea which one Waldo would be. They're all dressed so badly.
Phoenix Jones, that's brilliant.
Besides, catching Lindsay Lohan would be so easy. I would just put up signs and say 5 o'clock free crack giveaway. And when she shows up, I would arrest her. And people don't know this, but Bigfoot is partial to bananas. I would leave a string of bananas.
So I think what we showcase here is not only do you have the brawn, but you also have the brains.
Speaking of brains and brawns, I'm gonna let you guys settle this really quickly because me and Purple have this argument: whose biceps are bigger per body size? Because they don't realize that Purple's ripped, but I think mine are bigger per body size. All right, so let's take a look in here and see what's up. Yeah, okay, you go first. You go first, baby. All right, there's.
I gotta get
bigger than my body.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, now you're up.
Oh.
Right. See? I think I'm winning.
Here's what I think.
Wait, he also has like 80 pounds on me.
Here's the thing.
80 muscular pounds.
Here it is. All right. Purple, you've got the tone. The tone is there. Phoenix, you got the size, man. It's the size. You got her beaten in size, but you're biologically engineered to be that way.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna have to. No, I'm gonna have to nod it up, man. I think if you're talking about my frame, I think it's gotta be Purple, man. Because you're already a big dude. Everything else is, but Purple's rocking some guns, man. I mean, those are howitzers for a lady with your frame.
How small I am? No.
You know what people don't realize is that Purple is actually kind of a monster when it comes to like the gym and like hitting it, working out, like being in shape and knowing like martial arts and stuff. We mess around and fight sometimes, and it's always awkward because it's like, I would love to just punch you in the face so I can win this fight. But then no one thinks it's cool to be dating the black guy whose girlfriend or wife has black eyes. So it's like, I can't really hit you the way I want to.
Yeah. Especially when I run a domestic violence campaign, that's not cool.
No, not at all.
That was what I was actually going to ask you about.
Hey, El Caballero's calling. Just a sec, guys. El Caballero's on the phone.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Cabby, I'm on the podcast right now. You're on the phone. Say what up.
Hey. How you doing, man?
He can't hear you, but they just said, Cabby, how you doing, man?
Oh, we can hear you.
Patrol? All right, well, since this podcast is delayed, I can tell you, we're going to be meeting 12:30, 7th and Pike. Bring all your normal gear, your radio tonight. I'll bring the batteries. You should be meeting Vlad there at 7:30, and we'll roll out. I mean, at 12:30. Unless you want pickup. I can come pick you up from your casa as well.
in the newspaper.
Not a problem at all. I'll pick you up at your house at 12. We'll meet down there at 12:30. It'll either be me or Captain Karma. All right, man. You stay classy. Make good choices. Oh, no, man. You're part of the team. I got you. I'll pick you up. I got to go. Jack's on the other line. Sorry, guys.
I feel like I
Hey, Midnight Jack, what up, brother?
into the Batcave.
Hey, just a sec. Wait, Jack. Wait, Jack, wait. You're on podcast right now, so anything you say, people can hear you. So say hi to the podcast.
Oh, hi, people on podcast.
What's up, Jack?
Okay, this is what I was doing. I was sitting on my gear site, and I was looking at stuff I don't normally look at. What I found is a police officer's field guide to street narcotics.
Nice. You found a police guide to narcotics. That's awesome.
I also found a bunch of cool rescue tools, too. Like, stuff to smash out windows, seatbelt cutters, just everything. I sent all the links to Cap.
To Captain Karma?
Yep.
Cool. Hey, you're coming out on patrol tonight, right?
Yep, come pick me up around 11:40.
Perfect, brother. All right, we'll see you downtown, man. You stay classy.
You too, Bob. I'll talk to you later.
Make good choices, Jack.
I feel like we had
Sorry about that,
I
guys.
noticed that all these guys need rides, so I started kidding.
Jack sent to the Batcave.
Well, so here, right?
This is
the key of justice.
Yes, yeah, I mean, and just calling the shots, man. I mean, like a boss, sir. Very good.
Pay my taxes like a boss.
Like a boss.
Yeah.
All right, man.
Let me ask.
So we were talking.
Hold on, let me jump in here, Steve. Purple, like we were talking about, like, you hit the gym, and you're an accomplished martial artist, and I know you do a lot of outspoken domestic violence work, and speaking out against that. And it was that from something in your past, and you just one day just kind of said, all right, never again, and then that's kind of how you got into that.
Yes.
You know what? I'm gonna go, and I'll be back. And I'll just let you share your domestic violence story, because the Nerdtopia podcast, like, these people on this channel who probably didn't hear anything about your domestic violence campaign, I personally don't want to hear about it because it just makes me mad. Aww. So I'm just going to go, but you should totally share your story because it might help somebody. You really should. I'm going to walk away, though, and I'm going to go get, like, some lemonade. Yeah, I'm just going to go get some lemonade or something. I hate this story.
It always makes them uncomfortable when I talk about it, and I'll just share a small portion.
We got more hammer pants.
In the relationship that I was in before I met Phoenix, it was an abusive one, and for the most part, he was abusive emotionally, like very controlling, and I didn't really realize what was going on until like the further I got into it, and then it did get physical, and he almost killed me. And it's one of those situations where, like, I did fight back for my life. I wasn't just going to let some guy beat up on me. And I fought for my life, and by the end of it, like, I was really, really lucky to walk away and be alive. And friends had warned me about, like, this guy before, and I never really listened. And I didn't know about, like, the domestic violence resources. And it took a couple of my friends who, to me, like, they were my heroes. And they're like, hey, like, this is what you need to do. You need to get a restraining order. You need to file charges. And you need to move and escape. So I did all of that. And then after, like, I started becoming, like, more empowered and feeling stronger and stronger. And when I met Phoenix and started, like, patrolling with him, I felt like I have all these resources now. I feel like I'm a really strong woman, and I need to get back. So that's why I started the domestic violence campaign, because I want to help girls who are still in abusive relationships and they don't know about the resources out there. And I want other people to know that they can be a hero and reach out and help save people's lives. So
that's awesome.
The quick version.
Can you give us a couple of resources that people can check in, just in case they need to like, do you have a website or campaign that they can look at?
Yes, I do have a website. The website is purpleraincampaign.org, and it's important to notice that the rain is spelled REIGN. And on the website, I've got resources to, like, all the domestic violence hotlines, and there's hotlines for, like, towns, cities, state, national, and also resources, like, all across the world. And then there's a lot of articles on there, too, that just really educate people about domestic violence, because it's not just a physical abuse. There's abuse of all different forms, and anybody can be a victim, too. It's not just women. There's men. Domestic violence affects children and the whole family. So
absolutely, yeah. I mean,
check it out, purpleraincampaign.org. We just did a fundraiser where we were raising funds for an organization. But the biggest part about my campaign is raising awareness worldwide and just telling people to stop minding their own businesses and to reach out and help somebody. Because no one called the police when I was getting beat up, and I was in an apartment with thin walls. Nobody called the police. No one came to knock on the door. People just assumed it was a private affair, and it's not. Domestic violence, it affects everybody.
Absolutely.
And that was actually one of the things that I saw was one of the you posted on your website recently. You guys have a gentleman by the name of the Crimson Bolt who has made a video coming out against domestic. Can you talk a little bit about the Crimson Bolt and why why he's been so involved? And of course, actually, we're referencing to Rainn Wilson, who was in a movie Super, and that was the character you played in Super. So how did you guys meet? How did he get involved in with you guys and kind of in your cause?
Well, the Rainn Wilson thing is really a funny connection because we went to the same high school, right? But obviously years apart. Yeah, we had the same teacher even. It's really, really weird.
Were you guys in the same class?
So then he was in... No, not at the same time, but I mean the same teacher.
Okay.
This teacher's just super old.
Okay.
She's like super old status.
Okay.
Decades of teaching people. Anyways, so he's coming in here. He just got done. He's halfway done with the movie Super, and he was going to give a sneak peek of the movie. And they keep tweeting me saying we want to meet the real life superhero Phoenix Jones. So I saw the sneak preview of the movie, and I was super offended because the guy just runs around and hits people in the head with a wrench. And I didn't get how funny Rainn Wilson was. I was just like, you are taking my life, and you are ruining it.
You've never seen The Office either.
I'd never seen The Office. I never got any of it. I didn't understand it. So I snuck in the back security of the room, snuck through the back of the place where he's giving his ceremony, and right when he mentions my name, I just opened the back curtain, me in pitch black, walked right down the center, and I said, I heard you're looking for me. And the whole crowd just went nuts. If you guys look it up, it's on YouTube. It's called Phoenix Jones, Rainn Wilson, Super Panel. And you can watch it, and I come through, and the crowd goes nuts. And I walk up to him, and I'm all like, you think this is a joke? And Rainn's like, I don't know what to say. You look kind of funny. You're dressed in rubber. I'm like, well, you cut your hair like that on purpose. And it's just back and forth banter. And afterwards, Rainn's like, you should. A couple months go by, and he calls my friend in California and says, you should come down here for the opening of my movie. And I'm like, why would I come to the opening of your movie when all you do is make fun of me? And he goes, you really need to see the movie in its entirety. He's like, after talking, we really changed the direction of the movie. And I said, well, let's take a look. So he flew me to California. I landed, did the whole red carpet thing, hung out with him. I was sitting 2 seats up from Mick Jagger, which was really awkward because he was like, love your face paint. And it was clearly a mask, which was super weird. It was just really strange. It was real weird. And then we were sitting there, and, out of all the celebrities that were there, the shocker of the night was that Sarah Silverman is actually hot in real life, which was totally weird. Yeah, right? Like,
my brain
ridiculously
broke my brain. Really?
Dude, I'll send you, do you want to see the photos? I have a photo standing next to Sarah Silverman. Do you want to, I'll try to post it in Nerdtopia. I have to find it from my guy Pete, but it's the weirdest thing ever. And I was just shocked by that she was attractive because she's always been so awkward. And the funny thing was, I walked up to her, we're standing next to each other, right? And I looked at her a couple times, she must have caught me staring, and she looks at me and she goes, can I help you? And I was like, and I'm kind of stuck. I'm not sure what to say. So I just said the first thing that came to my mind. And I said, I can't believe you're that attractive. I saw you on TV and I thought you were kind of awkward. And she laughed and she thought it was funny. And she just said, well, it was good to see you. What was your name again? Doofus Jones or something? And I was like, that's funny. And she walked away, and that was the whole thing. So, what?
Security?
Security. I forgot the security guard.
I don't remember either. The other guy, who was with security.
Oh, God, yeah, I can't remember the whole thing. She made some really funny comment about her security team, but I can't remember what it was. It had to do with Chinese people and whether she was the big black guy in a mask or the Chinese people. And it was really funny, but I can't remember the whole thing. I eventually ended up winning to the paid Chinese guy's dismay, because he was all sitting there looking official. So me and Ren started talking. We went out to a cafe, we started talking, I let him tase me. And then the next day he was on Jimmy Kimmel, and he just started talking about me on Jimmy Kimmel Live. So we started, calling each other on the phone and hanging out, and we've hung out a whole bunch since then. And the weird thing is, he's not funny in real life. Like, he has a funny switch. Yeah, he has a funny switch. Like, when he wants to be funny, he just, and then he's hilarious. But normally in real life, he's extremely boring and even keel. Well, I guess it's not that boring. He has a what is it? Maybe it's what kind of car is it? It's the one that's the hybrid car. Yeah, he has a Prius on 22s with hydraulics. It's the funniest thing you've ever seen.
I was about to say, Phoenix, how is that not funny?
It is, that's hilarious, but he's not funny. So he just walks out super serious in his business suit and hops in his Prius on 22s with hydraulics, and he's all like, "Hey, Jones, you want in, buddy?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Let's go." We're rolling down the street listening to Frank Sinatra on 22s in the Prius. It's just weird.
That's surreal, man. That's
amazing.
That's a surreal mental image that I'm getting right now. Phoenix Jones rolling down.
Do you know what was another one from Hollywood? Another weird Hollywood story. I walk into an elevator, and this guy's turned around facing the back of the elevator, facing the wall, talking on his phone, and he goes, "I don't give an F what Mariah says. I'm done with this." Hangs up his phone, turns around, and it's Nick Cannon. And the dude is ripped. Like, I don't know if you've seen Nick Cannon with his shirt off, but this dude has cannons. He turns around to me, and he looks at me and goes, he turns around and goes, "What movie you in, bro?" And I'm like, "Nick Cannon?" And he's like, "Yeah, man, what movie you in, dog?" And he's just super gangster. And I was like, "Oh, it's not a movie. I'm here for a Hollywood pitch." And he goes, "Oh, okay, cool." Picks up his phone, gets back on his phone. He's like, "Hi, this is Nick Cannon." "Oh, yeah, I love that show. Awesome. Okay, I'll talk to you back soon." Gets off the phone and goes, "Word up, dog." Just walks on the elevator. And I was just like, it was the weirdest thing. Because he's just this huge, buff, just angry black dude spitting into the phone. "Yeah, dog, what's up?"
He has the nerdy white guy switch.
Mm-hmm. He's like, I was in Drumline. Leave me alone."
So if you don't get street cred for being in Drumline, how do you get it?
Yeah. No. Well, I'll tell you what. Certainly not like Rex Velvet.
I don't like that guy.
Yeah, I
know, and we don't need
your interview. You called him out.
You know what?
All right, I'm going to go. You called him out at the line on that radio interview, man. I listened to the interview, and it was pretty damn hilarious. Because this guy, like, granted, we talked about it a little bit last week. I mean, his videos are awesome. Man. Like, I got to hand it to him. But he's a great performer. But then it's like you flip the switch on him, and he's got nothing. He's got nothing to go on, man. It was freaking hilarious because you called him out. And you're like, "Wait a minute." And this is the part that I almost wet myself, where you're like, "Wait a minute, you're a supervillain that's against anarchy?" And he's like, the other Phoenix, I am a villain." Everybody in the studio was just laughing at this dude, man. I don't really understand why he doesn't realize that people are kind of laughing at him, not laughing with him.
My favorite part was the off-air comments. The off-air comments when the whole thing was over, right?
Yeah.
His voice just totally changed. He went to normal, and he doesn't know I'm still in the studio. And he says, "Bender?" And Bender goes, "Yeah." And he goes, "Hey, is that guy really serious? Like, should I come down tomorrow? Are we going to chat, or is he going to meet me up?" And Bender said, "With all seriousness, if you come to the studio and you don't bring weapons, then you're going to be in a fist-to-fist fight." And it was just silence.
At the very end of it, they're like, "Hey, listen, man, you're a super villain by definition. Villains fight heroes. We'll do a 10-minute debate, and then we'll do a 3-minute fight. And I'm sure it would be a gentleman's fight, but at the same time, and then you're like, yes or no, man, yes or no, quit talking shit, yes or no." And he's like, "Well, does he have body odor?" Just like any conceivable thing he could do to get himself out of it now, since you called him to the line. It was pretty.
Absolutely, it was pretty foolish.
Honestly, though, man, don't let. At the end of the day, man, don't let it get to you, because Steve and I, we have a lot, and a lot of other people too. We have a lot of respect for what you're doing out there, and somebody who doesn't really care enough for what you're doing to just kind of troll you to try to get his name in the media. Please don't let that deter you from what you're doing, man.
I'm going to be honest. I stay up at nights sometimes and I cry about Rex Velvet. And I get so upset that I just don't know what to do with myself. And there's only one thing that can really make me feel bad. I have to look at something truly evil to really understand what it would be like to be fighting evil. And at that point, I watched the Charlie Chaplin videos. Because that guy is truly not funny. Nothing he does is good. He has a mustache and a bowler hat. And I realized that's what a true supervillain would look like if there was one that was ever going to be able to come back me. It would be the silent Charlie Chaplin.
Fair enough.
Just put them on mute, put them in black and white, man.
Sort of like a Britney Spears music video. They're great on mute, and only if they're in the 1990s.
Fair enough, sir. One of the things that kind of occurred to me, and certainly, with what you posted in the last couple of days, is there's a lot of things going on in Seattle and a lot of cities around the world. You know, there are only so many police officers on patrol, especially with cities cutting back budgets and not being able to afford to keep that many people on the ground and enforce the laws. And one of the things that really kind of moved me that you've done in the past couple of days is you do things like you walk by parks and you notice 50 barrels of toxic waste into a place where children can access. Cops don't have time to look for that kind of stuff right now. And above and beyond stopping violent crime and above and beyond going out and breaking up fights and all the things that you get on the news for, so the things like that maybe don't roll as often, or maybe, don't break in lead stories, the work that you do with kids, that above all else, I think, and your dedication to the city and your dedication to, the people that live there make you a superhero. And for that, I mean, for everybody in our group, for him and for me both, I think, that's some of the important things to recognize. We appreciate it, man. I know the people in Seattle appreciate it. And thank you so much for giving us your time today and coming out on the show, kind of getting the word out. Real-life superhero Phoenix Jones, everybody.
Hey, thank you, man. I really appreciate that. I wanted to say one more thing that I think is very important. Actually, two things. One is you need to be very aware that at some point an alien attack is imminent. And the only person who can save you will be me and the rest of my super friends. And at that point, it is very important that you buy me a plane ticket to New York to hang out with the rest of the Avengers. They will need my assistance, guaranteed.
I want to see that movie so
And the second one, you haven't seen the Avengers?
You've seen it 3 times already.
And the second Avengers.
The movie.
Oh, yeah, totally. Dude, me and Captain America back to back, buddy. And the second thing is that Chuck, you still lose. It has been over an hour, and I have not forgot that you lose. I can't pronounce his last name. Stollenberg.
Now, Phoenix, if you're gonna bring him down on the air, we're gonna have to get the name right. It's Stahlheber.
Stahlheber. All right.
Yes.
Chuck Stahlheber. I win. And if you would like to Facebook me your address, I would love to send you a T-shirt. It's an official T-shirt signed.
Oh man,
just for being a good sport.
That's awesome.
You can't buy, nowhere else. It's a good thing we're free because you can't buy entertainment like you've provided us for the last 45 minutes being shown. Thank you so much for being on the show. Purple, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you, guys.
For NerdtopiaCast, episode 6. This is Steve Wareham.
Julian Dalton.
Purple Rain.
And Phoenix Jones, you stay classy, world.
Did he leave, Steve?
Yes, Doolin.
But I like talking to him. Why did he have to go?
Because we have to chase him. He's the hero that Seattle deserves, but not the one that Seattle needs right now. So we'll hunt him. Because he's not our hero. He's a nerdy guardian. A dork protector. He is a phoenix risen.
The fuck are you talking about, Steve?
Shh. Don't question it. You'll ruin the moment.
Oh, okay.
Find more free nerdy funny on NerdtopiaCast.blogspot.com, and don't forget to subscribe to NerdtopiaCast on iTunes.